Welcome to another AriasWave update. So in this quick update, I'm basically just going to go over the waves as they are appearing at this point in time. So long-term pattern is a D wave. We haven't not seen the end of the B wave in brackets yet. This one will be coming in the future. And as I mentioned in my previous video, this could potentially end after we have seen a break of the all-time high. Okay, so right now we're still looking at what happened a couple of days ago, what started a couple of days ago, and whether or not this C wave will be a small one, and will this continue higher within that B wave correction. So at this point in time, I could tell you that it's going to $160, but that may change depending on if the B wave ends around the area of the all-time high. So I can't tell you at this point if that's true or not. This is a progressive thing that when you're looking at markets through the AriasWave lens, it's something that is it's always in progress. Okay, counts can change, and that's why I provide regular updates. Okay, so from the latest, we've established that we're in a C wave. Now, whether that C wave has completed or not is another story. So if we go to the hourly chart, right, we can just take a simple look at the price action since the beginning of that C wave. Okay, it never hit it never hit the all-time high. So it doesn't matter what strategy you use. This is definitely not a top. Okay, and I've explained this already in the previous video, but I thought I'd go over this again because people like to be updated and know if anything has changed according to my view. So in my previous video, I did say that potentially this was just, a small C wave, right? And if you look at the C wave in brackets that occurred in the B wave, as I explained it last time, I'll just adjust these so you can see where that ended. Right, we basically had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. I won't go into the exact waves, but basically the area where the red line is wave 4 low. Okay, it's the wave 4 low. So typically in a correction, it is very possible to simply test this area, and if it gets rejected the way that it did in this particular case, then we can definitely look for higher prices depending on what happens after that. So at this point in time, if you just basically expand the chart a bit like this, okay, we have a piercing candle. All right, this is called a piercing pattern with a few confirming candles after that. And since then, I can see that we've potentially seen an ABC pattern forming. So this is also the same area as that wave 4 low I showed you earlier. So if we take a Fibonacci to the end of the presumed wave 1 of this move, there's definitely a lot of confluence around this area, because not only is it around that break of that wave 4 low, it's also around the 0.618 retracement. So at this point in time, just keeping my eyes on this price action around here, whether or not this is part of the A wave of the coming D wave, which should break all-time highs, is yet to be seen, because we need to at least break the highs. Okay, now if for some strange reason we manage to make another low, which it's looking unlikely at this stage, then it could be that we are seeing a wave 4, and then the wave 5 will basically just bottom out by making one low, just below this bottom point down here, which was the lowest point of the crash or mini crash that happened on the 19th of May. So these are my thoughts at the moment. There is nothing much else apart from that. That's why I haven't really been in a hurry to release anything yet up until now. Also been dealing with the kids this weekend, doing other things other than looking at charts, because it's good for your psychology to not always be looking at the screen. Helps you process information in the background of your mind, and sometimes a lot of the hard work is actually done, especially when you know AriasWave, especially when you have a framework of some sort. A lot of the processing can be done in your mind just by merely stepping away from the chart and uh, letting your mind do its thing, because we have some pretty amazing abilities when you think about it. Our subconscious mind does things that uh, not even scientists can explain at this point in time. So I wouldn't put too much doubt on our abilities. It just depends on what you feed your subconscious. That will depend what you get out. So, do I think that this has a potential to fall much further? I believe the answer is no, because a, we're basically in a zigzag, which is a move to the upside, and the wave B is technically a a counter trend move, and we haven't even seen the end of B wave yet. And as you know from my count on this particular coin, the correction has already begun expanding to the upside. So I wouldn't be surprised if my previous video, still comes to pass, and we see a break of the highs in wave D before wave E makes that uh, retest of the highs and then continues higher. And that's when we can take that measurement and extrapolate into the future based on a log chart. I don't believe in using linear. All my back testing on AriasWave was done using log charts on most charts. Some charts are different, but there's very few, especially when you're dealing with exponential growth charts. Um, yeah, a lot of the back testing was done on log charts, so I don't really have a concern with any comments that talk about that sort of thing, because once again, if you don't know AriasWave, then you know whatever you do, if you have your own methods, and if you think that they're open into interpretation, that's fine. But you probably shouldn't be watching my channel and saying anything really, because you have no idea how it works according to AriasWave. So therefore, your words are basically just meaningless. So you either want to learn it or you don't. You either want to listen to what I have to say or you don't. It's as simple as that. There's no two ways about it. Um, Anything else is just considered useless, really, because it doesn't really help anybody. It doesn't help anybody learn anything. If you want to go ahead and start your own analysis and posting your own ideas, I encourage you to do that, because if you find a way to view the markets that others can relate to and connect with, then it will definitely benefit you in the long run, because consistency is the key with anything you do in life. If you maintain that consistency and you actually produce results, then over the long run, you will succeed. If you manage to do something which really doesn't end up benefiting people in the long run, it's going to be well noted, and quite simply put, you won't get many followers and views. So what I do, what I'm doing from now on is basically referring people back to the bullish series, which you can find on my website if you go digging for it. That basically explains my view of the markets as a whole. And I use a variety of different markets to come up with the analysis that I do in order to build a bigger picture rather than just focusing on one particular chart, which could it doesn't really give you the whole picture and cannot give you a complete, view of the markets. Apart from that, I follow the patterns. So in this case, the C wave that I'm seeing in XLM is a lot different than the C wave I'm seeing in Bitcoin and the potential for further lower prices in Bitcoin. I will put out another idea on that one very shortly. But for now, I just thought I'd update you on this one. Not much happening, and stay tuned.